Hey, everybody, listen, happy Tuesday, people. Welcome in the building. I'm so glad y'all hanging out with me. Listen, if you decided to hang out with the diva tonight, y'all know the routine. Do me a favor, hit the like button. That's all I'm asking you to do. Hit the like button. In addition to hitting the like button, let a friend, let a family member know about the diva. I want to hit 50K subs this month, and with your help, I can do it. Okay. So listen, guys, tonight's title for trending topics is accountability. Accountability. We're going to do the Diddy Trial updates. And like I said before, we will be doing these updates all the way until, the verdict comes back in. So we'll be doing Diddy Trial updates. And then I never heard of this case until I read it today. And y'all gotta let me know if you heard about it. It's called OneTaste. But you know what? Before I get into that, let me back up to this Diddy trial. You know what is interesting to me, and it's kind of funny and laughable. So many people, well, let me say this. A few people love to come and comment under my videos and like, oh, Diva is pro Diddy. And I laugh. Some of them, when I have the opportunity, if I got time, if I got a moment, I respond to them. Others, I just go ahead, like the video, and keep it pushing. So, I know y'all that come to me all the time. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all know how I feel. Y'all know how I do things over here. Well, for those that might be listening in the aftermath and want to just do this generic comment of Diva is pro Diddy, I'm going to tell them a few things so they can knock it off. One person came in my comments and they said, Diva's not a lawyer. And I said to myself, and you think the 12 jurors are lawyers and the 6 alternates? Sometimes people talk because they just picking up group talk. We call it group talk. When the majority goes one way, everybody's going to join the majority, and instead of using their brain and thinking for themselves. So I guess they thought they was telling me something, saying, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not a lawyer. Well, it's a jury of his peers. Do you think there's lawyers in the jury stand debating this thing? No, it's not. Okay? And you don't need a lawyer to make common sense out of everything that is going on. And if you ever watch any law case, there's a bunch of lawyers that they make mistakes with the law themselves too. So to that person, no, Diva's not a lawyer. And one person said, Diva's not a lawyer, she's a nurse. Yeah, Diva's not a lawyer, she is a nurse, but she also got a brain. And I use it. And a lot of people keep saying, well, the Southern District of New York has a 99. If I hear this 99, whatever percentage rate, like people stop. Y'all repeat stuff. That 99 includes, they call it a win if they make a deal with somebody and the person takes a plea deal. Well, don't you call it a win if you ever get a speeding ticket and then you go to court and they drop it down to something that is not a non-moving violation? Yeah, you got to pay the court, but in your mind, you got to win because why? You didn't get those points on your license. So they played around with the words with us, and we just fall right into it. Wait, I don't know. What is this saying? You get it, doesn't matter what you say, is guilty of abuse, is guilty, sex trafficking and guilty, thumb burned with the witnesses. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Maybe you want to rewrite that because I'm not really following. But rewrite it for me and then I'll read it again because I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there. Okay. So, so either way though, I may have to hardwire in. It looks like I'm freezing up a lot here, right? Am I freezing? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? It looks like I'm freezing up a lot. I may have to hardwire in a minute because I got a lot of stuff I want to get through and do. But either way, though, okay, I am freezing, Julius. Okay, in a minute, I'll go our hard. Thank you, Tait Tait. Our hardwire in. Yeah, everybody say I'm freezing. Ah! Okay, so later on, I'll hardwire in, right? So let me do this. When it comes to the Black community, and I'm gonna speak for the Black community because I'm Black, the stuff we allow is the reason why we're always disrespected. Hang in there with me and follow me on this train track right now. Okay. So, if you go to a Black community, within that community, you'll probably find 5 to 6 to 7 liquor stores, and they call them, some of them call them spirit stores or whatever. And calling them spirit is a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But you go in a Black community, probably within blocks and blocks and blocks, you can find so many liquor stores. You go in other communities, and you're not going to find the liquor stores on the level that you find them in the hood, so to speak, or in the urban community. You go in an urban community, and probably, corner after corner after corner, you might see the street pharmacist, if you know what I'm talking about, just dealing and willing and tearing out a community. One mother, one sister, one brother at a time. You go into other communities, and I'm not saying they don't have street pharmacists, but guess what? They're not going to be on the streets like that. You have people that don't look like me that are allegedly committing the same crimes, or that whatever they claiming Diddy has done. And you do not get the level of press about it the way they're doing Diddy. You don't. I did this story earlier, and we're going to talk about it tonight. What was that? What was the name of their darn company? Let me hold on. OneTaste. OneTaste was the name of the company. It was a whole business for real, for real. You want Rico? There was. 2 ladies that didn't look like me was running it for over a decade. The employees had to sleep there, stay there, had to do favors for the clients. You know what type of favors I'm talking about. They ran this thing for over a decade. Did you see 1,000 articles, news outlets talking about that? And they was just found guilty. Did you hear about it every single day? Since the moment that lawsuit came out, every single day, without fail, there's been a Diddy story. This ain't got nothing to do with Diva saying this man is innocent or guilty. I'm telling you how they play around with the Black community, but you know what? We let them play in our face, and we encourage them playing in our face. But there's other communities that you wouldn't dare play in their face. So with the Black community, the shackles are off. We're out of physical slavery, but we're 100% still enslaved in our mind, our body, and our souls. Still enslaved. You go in certain neighborhoods, it ain't a whole bunch of fast food restaurants. Anybody live in Jersey? They could tell me, they could back me up, and this is the honest to God truth. There's several malls in Jersey that I go to. One of them is Woodbridge Center Mall. In Woodbridge Center Mall, they got a Chick-fil-A. As I'm driving down Route 9, that is very close to Woodbridge Center Mall, there's a Chick-fil-A. And then just a couple miles down, there's another Chick-fil-A. The fast food restaurants in our neighborhoods are plentiful. Because if we keep it 100, that food is killing us. But you go in other areas, You're not going to see 1,000 fast food restaurants in a row. You're not. Now I'm going to move forward because we got stuff to talk about tonight. It's called accountability. And listen, you know how I do over here. I say buckle your seatbelt. You don't never have to agree with me. But if you want to come up at my neck and accuse me of something that ain't so, then I'm going to have to let you have it. What I do in this commentary, and then listen, when Diddy has done something crazy, I come up here and say that too. But wrong is wrong and right is right. And I don't care what nobody say. I feel this judge is biased. Bias. The prosecution could do just about anything, and he let it go down. The defense makes steps to the side, and he calling them out. Since when do you perjure yourself on the stand and it's okay? That's the whole reason for you getting immunity, so you could get up there and tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because you ain't going to get in no trouble. But the judge said out of his own mouth with Brianna, well, you know, she admitted to being on drugs back then, so listen, she messed up. And that's cool? You talking about sending somebody to jail for the rest of their life. You got somebody on the stand that's supposed to be a witness, and they can't get their story straight. So we supposed to believe anybody that come up there and they can't get their story straight. Where they do that at? Come on now. It's about fairness, plain and simple. Anybody charged with a crime is owed due process. This is not something we should play with, because today is Diddy, tomorrow is you and one of your loved ones. You better talk about it, girlfriend. That's exactly what I'm saying. You better talk about it. Say not got this don't really have nothing to do with him. It's about being fair. And if they would have charged him with the right thing, slam dunk, he would have been locked up. The jury could have came back and talked about guilty. They would have came back and said that. But you're playing games. You got everybody up on the stand lying. And if y'all didn't hear, if y'all following, because I'm following and I'm reading the transcripts and stuff, Jane Doe was initially going to testify on Diddy's behalf. Then she woke up all of a sudden and she went to the prosecution side. She got full immunity. She talking about he paying my bills. He's still paying my rent. He's doing this. This thing is all over the place. It's a joke. And somebody want to ask me, did I study law? Well, I could have. Because what I'm seeing going on is a circus. And I stand by my assessment. It's a full-blown circus. And now I know for sure the judge is the ringleader. How do you have somebody swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and then they don't tell the truth and you like it's cool? And then she going to get cute with the defense lawyer and the judge. You don't really shut that all the way down. You don't be asking the lawyers no questions or getting cute with the lawyers. So she's cracking under a cross-examination. You think you could just get up there and tell your whole side of the story and nobody's going to ask you no questions? Where do they do that at? This is not a game. And hey, Miss K and J, you know what? No, it was a contract with the devil for money. And when you play in darkness, dark things will happen. That's a point blank in a period. Now, y'all excuse Cassie because y'all said she was groomed, she was young, she was this. What y'all got for Jane? What y'all got for Jane? And I'm being dead serious. Tell me what you got for Jane. Jane, who Saul was with him when the video came out about Cassie. That didn't make you run? Jane, who was with him when Cassie lawsuit dropped and she read it and felt it was her story, but she still stayed. What do you got for her? What do you want me to have for her? Jane, who said she participated in the violence because she slammed his head on the marble counter. Jane, who says this man is the devil pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing, but you allowing the devil to still pay your rent and just pay your legal fees. Where do they do that at? I'm good. If I think you the devil and you nothing about darkness, I'm going to figure out a way to pay my own rent and to pay my lawyer fees. But you will do anything for this money. And now you want us to do what? What do you want from us? You want us to find him guilty of what? S trafficking, when you were saying yes, but then sometimes you said no. But then you still did it anyway. In a relationship, they call that mixed signals. Stop giving the person mixed signals. If you don't want them no more, then just leave. We are rewriting history. They're rewriting definitions. They're changing everything around. Girl, you know what you signed up for. You know what you did. And just like Cassie, you was really mad because you was not number one. You was mad because you wasn't number one. When you saw him taking young Miami out and about in the streets and actually showing her as the girlfriend, that's when you got pissed. When you found out young Miami was getting a bigger allowance than you, that's when you was pissed. You was sucking and doing and tucking and letting them put it and do whatever to you, and he never took you out in the forefront. You was good for hotel nights, and he took young Miami to the Met Gala. No, y'all wouldn't want me to be no lawyer. Because the courtroom is a circus, and I would have participated in it. So now let me talk about this Michael Tait from the that group Newsboys. It was a Christian group, Newsboys. You know what? I got to give it to this man. I'm going to give it to this man. Accountability is what he did. He didn't lie, deny, step back, slide to the left, call people liars. He said, I messed up. He said, I messed up. I was drinking. I was drugging. I did things. I was living a lie. I went to rehab. If y'all can forgive me, forgive me. If you can't, you can't. He said, I'm sorry to all the victims, and I hope somehow you will be made whole. In addition to that, he said that don't turn away from God because I was a bad representation of God. Well, hallelujah. Michael Tait, you know what? You was wrong. I forgive you. And I forgive you because you stood up and took accountability. Now, I tell you what, I would have more respect for every witness that came on that stand. If they got up there, told the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and took accountability for their part, and then also told what Diddy did to them, then I think they would have had a slam dunk. But all of them want to look like they were angels, they was victims, they had no part of this. So that Gucci bag and the Gucci shoes and the apartment that you turn the key in every day that the devil is paying for, how could you not be sick to your stomach? And that's why over here, I tell you time and time again, I will be in a studio apartment with no furniture before I sell myself to the devil. Now, I think I'm going to have to hardwire in because I keep freezing a lot, but I'll hardwire in. I got one person backstage here waiting on me. We about to do this thing because we're going to talk tonight. And you know what? I haven't said this in a long time, but I'm going to say it now. Buckle your seatbelts because I'm going to keep it 100 over here. This is Diva Truth. Y'all ain't got to agree with me. It's fine. Y'all know I'm cool with that, but this is Diva Truth. And if I'm saving one person, then let it be one person that I save. But I'm going to speak my truth on my channel. And like I said, and thank you out there, you know, I see some of y'all hanging in there with me. This ain't about Diddy. This is about the facts. This is about right and wrong. This is about, fair justice. Child, let me tell you something, Lisa. That's right, a studio apartment. I most certainly would I gotta find the picture. I gotta see if I can find the picture. Because I swear to y'all, I'm telling the truth. Of my living room. And how it was empty. I ain't have a piece of furniture in my living room. Not a piece. But I had peace in my home. And in my heart, in my soul. Because I wasn't selling myself to the devil so I could have a couch. Come on now, buckle your seatbelts. Okay, so you know what I needed to chat, y'all? What? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Tuesday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Accountability. We're going to do the Diddy Trial updates. We're going to do this OneTaste, Guilty. These two founders, two female founders, and these people prayed. They prayed. They looked for people with trauma and told them they was going to heal them from their trauma. And they caused more trauma. They was found guilty. And we're going to do this Michael Tait. So let me bring Julius on the building. Hey, Julius.
Hey, y'all. Hit the like button.
Hit the like button, y'all. It seems like I'm going in and out of freezing. I'm going to do this story. I'm going to do this one update with this Michael Tait. I'm going to see how it goes. And then if I have to, y'all give me a second so I can hardwire into my computer and maybe that'll help. I'll do that. But it seems like it's okay now. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. But before I get into it, let me just, in case you wasn't with me the other night and don't know anything about this story. So it's this Christian kind of a group, very popular. They was called Newsboys. I didn't hear about them until I read the story. Well, the lead singer, Michael Tait, was he had admitted to and he was accused of leading a double life. Okay, so in this double life, he apparently is gay, but I guess he wasn't pretty much letting too many people know, and there were people that he befriended, and he was doing sort of Diddy-like behavior, what Diddy is being accused of. He would be stuffing people's drinks. They would kind of get woozy, maybe pass out. He was filling them up, violating them, non-consensual. He was kissing on them, and he was doing the most. But he stepped down when somebody on TikTok outed him and kind of accused them. He stepped down from the group, but he said when he stepped down, he actually went to rehab, and, he made a statement, taking accountability. He wasn't saying that I didn't do it. He wasn't lying. He wasn't none of that. Let's take a look at this, because you know what? We all fall short, right? And maybe our falling short is not as egregious as others, or maybe not as extreme in which you hearing what Diddy did, but we all fall short. And what I can get from this guy is he fell short, but he took accountability. Let me share a screen. So bear with me, because this thing is so small. My confession, Michael Tait, June 10th, 2025. Recent reports of my reckless and destructive behavior, including drug and alcohol abuse and sexual activity, are sadly largely true. For some 2 decades, I used and abused cocaine, consumed far too much alcohol, and at times touched men in unwanted sensual way. I am ashamed of my life choices and actions and make no excuses for them. I will simply call it what God calls it, sin. I don't believe anyone or anything but I don't blame anyone or anything but myself. While I might dispute certain details in the accusations against me, I don't dispute the substance of them. Give it up for this man. When I abruptly left Newsboys in January, I did so to get help. I was not healthy physically or spiritually and was tired of leading a double life. I spent 6 weeks at a treatment center in Utah, receiving help that may have saved my life from ultimate destruction. I've been clean and sober since, though I still have lots of hard work ahead of me. I'm ashamed to admit that for years I have lied and deceived my family, friends, fans, and even misled my bandmates about aspects of my life. I was, for the most part, living 2 distinctly different lives. I was not the same person on stage Sunday night that I was at home on Monday. I was violating everything I was raised to believe, but believed by my God-fearing dad and mom about walking with Jesus, and was grieving the very God I loved and sang about for most of my life. By his grace, I can say that for the past 6 months, I have lived a singular life, one of utter brokenness and total dependence on a loving and merciful God. I have hurt so many people in so many ways, and I will live with that shameful reality the rest of my life. I can only dream and pray for human forgiveness, but I certainly don't deserve it. I have even accepted that I even accepted the thought that God may be the only one who ultimately and completely forgives me. Still, I want to say, I'm sorry to everyone I have hurt. I'm truly sorry. It's my hope and prayer that all those I have hurt will receive healing, mercy, and hope from the merciful healer and hope giver. Even before the recent news became public, I started on a path to health, healing, and wholeness, thanks to a small circle of clinical health professionals, loving family, caring friends, and wise counselors, all of whom saw my brokenness and surrounded me with love and grace and prayer. Sin is a terrible thing, taking us where we don't want to go, keeping us longer than we want to stay, and costing us more than we want to pay. I accept the consequences of my sin, and I am committed to continuing the hard work of repentance and healing, work I will do quietly and privately, away from the stage and the spotlight. To the extent my sinful behavior has caused anyone to lose respect or faith or trust in me, I understand, deserve, and accept that. But it crushes me to think that someone would lose or choose to not pursue faith and trust in Jesus because I've been a terrible representative for him, for he alone is ultimately the only hope for any of us. King David's prayer for repentance in Psalm 51 has been my prayer this year. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to your loving kindness. Blot out my transgressions, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Create in me a new heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit in me. Well, you know what? To God be the glory, and bless this man, because he took accountability. Julius, your thoughts?
He said it all right there. He knew he wasn't acting right. It doesn't matter if you're gay, bi, straight, or Jew, Gentile. It don't matter. He knew he wasn't acting right, and he took responsibility. There's nothing more for me to say. That's it. It's between him and God. His relationship with God is his alone. That's it. That's all.
Listen, a person who can be a cock-old without being fruity pebbles, it's a weird addition, usually not our culture. You know, before now, they called it down low, the down low men that was leading double lives. This is something that has gone on before Diddy. And unfortunately, because we live in the dark, it will go on after Diddy. Felicia, what do you think about this Michael Tait and his statement and him taking accountability?
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be awake. Listen, lots going on. I heard the statement. I did catch your show that night. I missed it live, but I caught your show. I think it's wonderful that he has come forward to take accountability. However, I think forgiveness comes from those he harmed. It's up to them to decide whether or not they want to forgive him. And I'd like to also see him give some kind of settlement to truly make these people whole. I recall some of the stuff that he had done, taking advantage of young people, particularly, who were thinking he was befriending them. So it's not for me, as Julia says, to give or to remove or to abstain from forgiveness. It's from those he's harmed, who he has trespassed. And may he pray that they find a way back to being able to forgive him. I'm done.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
Well, if he believes in the 51st Psalm, because that's a cry of mercy, begging to God, who am I? If he asks God for forgiveness, that's on him. I ain't got nothing to say. That's not.
Katrina, your thoughts?
I'm with everybody on the train. The thing of it is, uh, he did admit to it. You cause havoc in these people's lives, and we hope that these people get the healing and the strength, to carry on. And as Felicia said, it's not for us to forgive you; it's for them to forgive you. And yes, being an addiction whatsoever and admitting to yourself the things that you've done, that's the main step of getting sober, because you're releasing all those demons out. So hopefully he can, keep staying in rehab or staying sober. And yeah, you can't make up for what you did to these people, but you can give them a little comfort by giving them a settlement, or just helping them out, paying for their therapy. You know what I'm saying? If they have to go to therapy, pay for that. Just do something to show that you really, really, truly are sorry about the actions that you took. Give them some type of relief. Help them out some kind of way. Because this guy came out and said this stuff, so he was holding it in for a while. So I'm quite sure that he probably need therapy or anything like that. Give them some relief on that. And may God still continue to bless you and forgive you, because I can't judge on anybody. I'm a human myself. But that's all I got.
Thank you. What I appreciate about him, though, is that a lot of victims, when they come out, they're not believed. And I think he stopped the noise, which many of them don't do. He stopped the noise and said, listen, this is true. And I think that those victims can get part of their healing or some of their healing by the fact that he has come out himself and said that I have sinned, that that what they're saying is true. That's how he opened his statement. I'm giving him a lot of credit. Savannah, your thoughts?
Those were going to be my remarks as well, Diva, that it's rare for a violator to acknowledge the truth and the hurt of the victims and come out and say, yes, I was wrong and I did them wrong, and they are to be believed. Again, this has been going on for decades. This isn't something new. And while I'll commend him for coming out and taking accountability and ownership, these are scars that are forever embedded in someone's soul, the people that he's violated. And I just, no amount of therapy or money or it's going to take a lot of healing, whether it's spiritual, holistic, and but it's not just for the victims, but he as well seems like he's grappling with his own identity or sexuality, or it's a long road that he has ahead of him. I appreciate that he came out, and in the midst of all this, with the P. Diddy and all the others that are out there, he came out and said, I am guilty. And that is very rare for someone to come out and do that. So I can't judge him, but it's a lot for the victims, that for them to be made whole again. And I hope that they can get the comfort that they need.
Yeah, I think that the struggle with a lot of people, especially in the Christian community, because this was a Christian group, we the world, I'm saying, we the world are so judgmental. We want to know, like, well, how can you be this and you're that? Or how can you believe in this and the Bible says this, but then yet you're practicing that? And so that's when you get the darkness. That's when you get the people hiding. That's when you get the people living a double life. To the bitter end, the pastor's name is slipping my mind right now. Well, I think it's Eddie Long. Denied every accusation against him to the bitter end. And there was several men that claimed, XYZ that he allegedly did. So again, I just say with this person right here is that, in Utah, shout out to the place in Utah, because I think it is a monumental, and I think it is a big deal that he came out and pretty much said, listen, I'm not going to say that these people are lying. What they're saying is so. I was living a double life. My bandmates didn't know. Nobody knew. So it's sad, but I give him credit for that. And I think he is on the road to healing. And he's understanding that, you know what, and nobody ever speaks to me again. I get it. Yeah, and prayer for the victims always. It's work they got to do, but I think at least part of their work, because a lot of people that, you know, accuse Michael Jackson, you know, and sometimes like this taboo, like people swear, it's interesting whose story is believed when they come out and whose story is not believed. It really is interesting to me. But those people have been fighting for decades and nobody's believing them. I don't know what happened, just like I don't know 100% what happened with Diddy. But I know these people felt they was victims, and I know that everybody's calling them stone cold liars. Or also, in this case, and we haven't heard, it's been pushed under the rug. People accuse selective empathy. Thank you, Emmanuel. That's what it is. People accuse Lizzo. That story got pushed under the rug. Why? Because they love Lizzo. I don't know what Lizzo did or did not do. But like Emmanuel said, it's very selective on who we're going to believe and who we're not going to believe. Everybody said believe the victims until a victim is accusing somebody that they love. When the victim is accusing somebody that they love, the victim is a whole lie. But I'm going to move forward. So the next story I want to get into is this story I did not hear of at all until I read about it. And I said to myself, the media is interesting. And again, because I got to repeat this, because I don't got time for the people coming in the comments with the nonsense. It's interesting how you can't go to sleep and wake up. There's going to be a new Diddy story. And I'm talking about all the platforms, major platforms. People is covering it. TMZ, In Touch Weekly, everybody. There's no, even Rolling Stone magazine, New York Times, the Daily News, everybody is covering Diddy. But then you got others out there that got full-blown, provable Diddy-like behavior, and you don't even hear like a real story about it. Hold on. Diva, I'll never forget when Bunny came on your panel. I believe that was her name. It was her name. She said, secrets keep you sick. And Handy B, I will never forget it either. I will never forget it either. She sure did, because there was a lot of SA in her family. And everybody in the family wanted to keep it a secret. She said, secret keeps you sick. All these people's secrets are making them sick. You never lied. And yes, she did say that. And she was part of the DeBarge family. Well, she is. So let me share screen, and then I'm going to hardwire in as I'm sharing this story, because I feel like I'm just freezing and freezing and freezing. And we got stuff to talk about. So let me share screen here. All right, my screen is acting up. Okay, let me see if I could try to share it again. Okay, and I'm going to hardwire in while this is playing. Hopefully it will play.
There is a cure, and that cure is orgasm.
That's Nicole Didone, the founder of the sexual wellness company OneTaste, which taught the practice of orgasmic meditation, a partnered experience which involves manual female genital stimulation that the company said would help members achieve enlightenment.
The viewers watching who may have been learning about you and OneTaste for the first time, and they hear orgasmic meditation, and they think it just sounds wild to them. What do you say to your critics?
Well, I would say it sounded wild to me, too. I mean, come on, it sounds crazy. But there was something that said, no, really do. Just try it. This is for me. It can't hurt. And so, everything is in the dark, under the covers, you don't talk about it. Well, what would happen if we actually talked about these things with transparency and openness?
Over 13 years, Didon built OneTaste into a $12 million business with thousands of members, even endorsements from celebrities like Gwyneth Paltrow and Khloe Kardashian. But last year, New York prosecutors charged Didon and a OneTaste executive with 1 count each of forced labor conspiracy. Didon sat down with Top Story in an exclusive interview ahead of her trial this January, where she faces up to 20 years behind bars if convicted.
What do you say to the charge against you?
Oh, it's not true. It's definitely not true. And I want to go to court because I want all of this transparent. I want it to be exposed.
But the indictment alleges Didon preyed on individuals who had been victims of previous trauma, forced OneTaste members into debt by opening lines of credit to finance courses, subjected them to constant surveillance, had them sleep in communal homes and share beds, groomed members to engage in sexual acts with investors and clients, and encouraged them to allegedly limit contact with people outside of the organization.
Okay, I'm going to just say it. It's a boilerplate indictment. We were rooted 100% in consent. If I talk to you about the practice, from the very moment that I would say to you, would you like to own? You can say yes or no. No is a perfectly acceptable answer. It's all based in consent. We had an ethics committee. This is the antithesis of what this company was.
According to Dr. Nicole Prouse, who studies sexual psychophysiology at UCLA, there are health benefits to orgasmic meditation.
People who do this practice report feeling better, more positive emotions, and fewer negative emotions. People also seem to feel closer to the person that they're interacting with, kind of regardless of their relationship history. So if you're worried about a loneliness epidemic or people who may feel isolated, this could be a way to address that kind of issue.
Didon's attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, who has represented some of the most high-profile celebrity cases in recent years, from R. Kelly, Bill Cosby to Harvey Weinstein, says her client was simply swept up in the Me Too movement.
I do not think anyone would be interested in what Nicole's life practice was, what OneTaste was doing without the Me Too movement. That's my personal view on it. And I think it was driven by media coverage that was not fair, that was not vetted, that was salacious, that was designed to rile people up.
Much of my work was about exactly what happened in the Me Too movement. There's nothing I want more than women to know how to give consent, to know how to say no, to know how to say yes, to know what her desire is, to know what the bottom line is, to know how to get up and walk out of a room.
Bonjean also blames the 2022 Netflix documentary Orgasm Inc. about Didon, which interviewed former OneTaste members who said that they were subjected to a toxic environment, even brainwashed.
People were getting hurt. People were getting hurt badly.
Ex-members would describe something that might look at and think like, oh, you were being told to have sex with a customer in the hopes that that would pay money to the company.
People were psychologically brutal with each other.
Make no mistake about it. Without the tabloid sensational coverage, there would be no indictment. I will stand on that.
You have been called a sex cult leader. You've been compared to Keith Raniere.
The most honest thing I can say is it makes sense to me on the one hand. And what I mean by that is we do not have a culture that understands women's power, women's relationship to sexuality, women owning their desire. There's a whole series of things where we were triggering. And so in a sense, I understand it. And because of that, I trust that, not to sound cliche, but that justice will prevail.
The Eastern District of New York declined to comment.
Are you prepared to potentially serve jail time?
I don't know that you can necessarily prepare. I do know that I have the inner strength, resilience, and most importantly, what I have is a conviction of purpose.
The jury, meanwhile, likely to hear from Nicole in her own words.
Will you testify?
For sure. Absolutely.
Chloe Malas joins us now in studio. So, Chloe, something interesting about all of this is that Nicole Didon, who you spoke to, sold this company in 2017, but now it's rebranded and operating again?
So it's now called the Institute of Om. And although Nicole Dedone says that she doesn't actually run the day-to-day of this business because she sold it, she's still practicing and she's still lecturing for the company. I also want to point out that this trial in January is not just going to have Nicole, it's going to have that executive that's also been charged with the exact same thing, which is conspiracy to commit forced labor. And her name is Rachel Churowitz. So they will be facing trial together in just a couple of months. And Churowitz has denied all of the accusations against her. And I also want to point out that Netflix documentary, Orgasm Inc. Well, Nicole is actually suing Netflix, and that's been ongoing since that documentary came out. And we've reached out to Netflix for comment, and we haven't yet heard back.
Chloe Melas, the big exclusive tonight. Chloe, we thank you for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Let me share screen again. So the founders of OneTaste Orgasmic called guilty of grooming employees to have sex with clients. So they were found guilty. They're finished. The glamorous leaders of the alleged orgasm cult, OneTaste, were found guilty Monday of grooming their wellness company members to have sex with clients and investors. OneTaste founder Nicole Dedone, 57, and her head of sales, Rachel Churowitz, 44, stood trial for 4 weeks in Brooklyn federal court as prosecutors argued the pair waged a decade-long campaign of coercion and abuse. 9 former OneTaste employees testified about the company's cult-like atmosphere where Dedone and Churowitz manipulated them into performing a slew of acts. These 9 victims provided labor and services for what spanned more than a decade, from minimal services to sex acts, said Assistant U.S. Attorney Nina Gupta in closing statements last week. Dedone and Churowitz face up to 20 years behind bars after jurors convicted them on a conspiracy to commit forced labor charge following a 12.5 hour of deliberations over 2 days. The verdict seals a fall from grace for the company's founders who promoted so-called orgasmic meditation involving group pleasure sections and have been endorsed by Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop website. But the glitzy libertine facade came crashing down after a series of exposés, including a Netflix documentary revealing accusations that workers were encouraged to flirt and even have sex with potential clients. Now, this is just a side note I'm going to throw in there. Y'all take this, y'all can pick it up off the floor, y'all can leave it on the floor. Do you remember Gwyneth Paltrow? At one point, she was selling, and the candles were like $200 and something or something like that. She was selling candles that smelled like her poom poom. And she happened to endorse this woman right here. I'm just throwing that out there. The feds eventually accused Dedone and Churowitz of running their business like a cult, recruiting people who suffered past trauma by claiming they could fix their sexual suffering. Churowitz enlisted one employee, our victim, to reenact the incident before a crowd for a taboo course, performing oral S on a partner while being told, "I love you," as her heiress did, prosecutors said. The purported goal, Gupta said, was to move from revulsion to turn on. OneTaste also indoctrined employees using terms like muggles from the Harry Potter series and fourth dimension, OneTaste being the fourth dimension, to establish an us versus them attitude, prosecutors argue. Dedone herself even called the company a sex cult in its early days, according to prosecutors. The California native founded OneTaste in San Francisco in 2004 as a wellness company promoting female empowerment, which controversially offered orgasmic meditation for women. While groups that have locations in New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and Denver, prosecutor says the cheeky startup had a dark side. What did I tell you about this darkness? Behind the scenes, Nicole Dedone and Rachel Churowitz directed young women to perform sexual services on VPs and potential clients, Gupta said. The deprived duo recruited vulnerable victims of past trauma to join their ranks, forcing them into S work and other unpaid labor and leaving them to rack up debt, the feds said. The pair's lawyers argued that prosecutors persuaded OneTaste members into discovering their victimhood in hindsight, when at the time they were eager participants. The government tried to shock you about sex, orgasm, forced conduct, but not a single witness came to report a crime. Not one filed a police report, argued Cecilia Cohen, defense attorney for Charis, during closing arguments. No one called the FBI. No one called to say they were forced into sex or labor. But jurors eventually saw otherwise. The jury's verdict has unmasked Daedone and Charis for who they truly are: grifters who played on vulnerable victims, said Brooklyn U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella Jr., by making empty promises of sexual empowerment and wellness only to manipulate them into performing labor and services for defendants' benefit. Attorneys for Daedone and Charis vowed to fight the verdict, saying they were deeply disappointed in the decision. Well, her lawyer was an effing to begin with. Her lawyer she did Weinstein, he's locked up. Epstein, he's gone. R. Kelly, he's locked up. And Bill Cosby got locked up. If I was her, and I wouldn't have picked that lawyer, but that's me. We maintain our clients' innocence and look forward to continuing to fight on appeal, said Cohen and Michael in a joint statement with Jennifer of the Bojane Law Group. This case raised numerous novel and complex legal issues that will require review by the Second Circuit. We find inspiration in our clients, Nicole and Rachel, who have shown incredible strength throughout this entire process. Julius, your thoughts?
Okay, now look here. I am very pro-sex. And I say that as an SA survivor. But that comes with actually doing work from the inside, healing that, and not letting that trauma overpower you. That comes actually from healing the mental, psychological, and emotional side of it. And you can go on to have a very profound sex life. And also, I do want to say, you cannot cheat natural, good old foreplay. Because I'm going to just say for me, if I ain't feeling the fella, we not going to be bumping and grinding. It's just that simple. Ain't no meditation, ain't no kind of Viagra, ain't no seance, ain't none of that. If I ain't feeling the fella, we not doing the bump and grinding. Y'all better take notes and y'all better write this down. That comes from within, and like I said, you can't cheat that natural foreplay. That comes natural. And I said it in the chat. These ladies are cultists. They wanted control. And they wanted money. They're cult leaders. I'm glad they're found guilty. And I hope the circuit that oversees New York tosses their case out. Because these demons belong in jail. That's it. That's all.
Thank you. Felicia, your thoughts?
So, Diva, how much time did they get?
They didn't. They just were found guilty. Mm-hmm. So their sentencing didn't happen yet.
And they were in business for over a decade.
Over a decade. And she sold the business in 2017.
Mm-hmm. So it seems from what you read to us, that their attraction was already abused people.
Come on now.
People who were already traumatized, not looking, let's say, to gain information or knowledge or something, but, improving upon themselves, perhaps in their sexuality. So these women, particularly women, it seems, right, were all traumatized and looking for some kind of healing solution. And they walked right into the predator's den. I think out of everything you read to us, the one thing that I really stuck out for me was how they had them recruit other people who too had been traumatized. So I'm gathering they gave them like a prep speech. Oh, it's doing great for me. I'm so much better. They have me sleeping in the bed with strangers. We're locked up in a room. it's just what I didn't hear was substances. So am I to assume that most of these people were on substances and could not logically think themselves out, or they just went after the very vulnerable? But whatever it is, I'm glad to hear that this was brought to trial, unlike the other Mike Jeffries case over there in the Eastern District of New York, where he's now in a medical facility saying that he can't stand trial. He can't do any of these things. So there was justice served here. I don't think that there. You brought an excellent point. Look at who their lawyer is. They should have known that they weren't going to find any victory on their behalf. And I tell you, and I another great example I think that was shown to us is that woman interviewed like she was completely innocent, and all the folks on the other side was real idiots. She did a really good job of presenting this facade of professionalism, and we're in here caring, and none of these things are true. And that question about, well, are you prepared to go to prison? Well, no, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess she's going to get prepared soon enough, because she's not locked up, right? She's waiting for sentencing.
She's waiting for sentencing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she's home packing now and trying to figure out how to put things in order until she gets out 10 years from now. Thanks, Diva, for sharing that story. That's a good one.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting to me? Just like Diddy's lawyer said, you can't. I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep him off the stand. This is how delusional this woman was. She's like, no, I'm going to go on that stand. I'm going to speak.
Savannah, and she was still found guilty.
Yeah. Savannah, your thoughts?
So what I see here is the new Belle Gibson scammer, the improved Elizabeth Holmes scammer as well. All three of these women scammed vulnerable people that and they made millions off of people by scamming them and promising them whatever goods that they were peddling at that time. But what is interesting to me that all three of these white women scammers were blonde-haired, blue eyes, and they are all looking to be pardoned. And I think this woman will be pardoned as well. I don't think she might do a little bit of time. I know Elizabeth is doing some time, but she is on the list to be pardoned after the Chrisleys were pardoned. Elizabeth is looking to be pardoned, and Belle Gibson, she was or she is an Australian citizen, but she scammed American citizens for years, claiming that she was able to cure her own cancer by following apple cider and fruits and veggies. So I don't see any difference, but I love that your title tonight is accountability, because sometimes we have to also take accountability for the decisions that we make. And this woman was peddling snake oil. I don't get what she was. I still don't understand, because she said a lot of big words, fancy words, but they really didn't say anything to me. And I'm just wondering how vulnerable, how gullible were these people to have relations with others because someone said, this would free them or cure them of their I don't expect her to get much of a sentence, Diva. I think she'll be a light sentence, and she'll be out there peddling the next 10 CDs for 99 cents line that people are going to pick up. So there's a pattern with these people, and I see more and more of them coming out.
Woo, Katrina, your thoughts?
These people are sick. I mean, my dear God, you sit up here telling these people they can have orgasm by meditating. And then, okay, that's what you're telling them to do, meditate, right? But then you got them going out SAing other people or sleeping with other people. That's not meditating. That's not sitting in the yoga style, doing it with your mind. You got these people out here doing it with other people, and you got them bringing in people. This is some sick mess. And then, like you said, and I seen that lawyer looking like Marcy from Charlie Brown. Girl, how in the world you got this woman defending you? And like you said, everybody that she defended went to prison. You know, Bill Cosby got out right now. I think Trump gave him a pardon. But I'm just saying, all of them went to prison. You think you weren't finna go? There's no way she would have represented me. R. Kelly, Weinstein, Bill Cosby. All of them went to prison. And this is that's why we know that she's not that smart, because you picked this lawyer. This is ridiculous. These people fell under this spell. I don't get it. Like, y'all paying this woman money to be exploited again. You saying that they had SA allegations or they went through something that's in that point. But then again, y'all going out here doing it to other people when you have had it done to you. I just don't get it. And how can you pay go to a doctor instead of going to these type of meetings? Go to a doctor, get help that way, get healing that way. Because how this woman healing you when you going out there doing worse things than what had already been done to you? These people are, oh, Jesus. You know, that's all I got, Diva. That's all I got.
Wayne, your thoughts?
Diva, was she a doctor?
No.
Did she? Okay, so she, this sounds like to me, almost sound like Diddy, just without the violence. And she actually convinced these people. Now, I don't know. The same way these people, we talk about these people that Diddy got involved with, y'all wasn't stupid. These people ain't stupid. I think this woman was getting off on her own little thing, watching all of this, and then collecting the money. This woman was morally corrupt, because I don't know if any of these people were married or whatever, and if they were, who's agreeing to some kind of, to have my wife be with somebody else or whatever? Some things is wrong. When you grow up, certain things is wrong. But if this woman, she don't need a spanking on the hand. She needs to get something that she's done harm to people. She's hurt people, even though they went into it. She mentally hurt people. Now these people going to need more therapy or whatever. It's ridiculous that she was able to get away with it for a decade. If she got any money, she don't need to have any more money. That's why I feel. But I have no sympathy for her. And if she gets 10 years in jail, hey, so be it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think there was alcohol. I think there was substances. I think there was abuse. But I think they're not saying it because of who she is and what she looks like. And who she was connected to in Hollywood and the people that endorsed her. They said Gwyneth Paltrow and Khloe Kardashian endorsed her in her company, and the fact that, she had this wellness and was doing the meditation or whatever the case may be. But this is what I'm saying. Some communities, you can't play in their face.
Diva, can I add something?
Give me a minute. She was running a whole situation for over a decade. That's racketeering right there. Because you claiming to be a wellness company, and at the meantime, behind the doors, you got a P going on. They was encouraged when VPs came through the door to do the unthinkable. They was also living. They had a compound that some of these people were living on. Talking about coercion and not being able to leave. And what happens is when people are broken and they're seeking help, right? They're seeking help. Some of them have already been to several doctors and their mind still can't get past the trauma. And then you follow these other individuals. You like, oh my God, I love Gwyneth Paltrow. She has a health and wellness company. She's endorsing this woman. Oh, I love the Kardashians. Khloe Kardashian is, doing this woman. I tried everything else, and I still can't get this trauma out my mind. This woman is saying if I come and I let her teach me meditation and I go through these groups and everything, I'm going to be fine. A lot of these self-help gurus, they throw, I'm going to call it conventions for a lack of a better word. So they have these little infomercials on the Instagram and the social media, the TikTok, and it's very convincing. They're like, if you do this, if you do that, blah, 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 buy my book, click on the link. You click on the link, next thing you know, they have some wellness thing they have going on. And that wellness thing is costing you $2,000, $3,000. And then by the time you call the 1-800 number and all of that, you was just trying to get the book, and they're talking you into going to this wellness thing. And they ask you how many credit cards you got. Well, just put 1,000 on that credit card, 1,000 on this, and do this and do that. Next thing you know, you in debt. A lot of these people said they was in debt paying for the wellness classes, and they was part of the company. But you know what? You're not getting that out there. And a lot of these documentaries, they are the catalyst to taking these people down. So the Netflix documentary on them is what took them down. And she's still in her mind, thinks like, I did nothing wrong. Well, the court said differently. So we're going to see what sentence they get. I will keep everyone posted. What did you want to say, Julius?
Yeah, I just want to say about the Gwyneth Paltrow piece. Some of her methods have come into question and have been discredited. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
It most certainly has.
I'm just wondering how much money her and Chloe got out of this, because they invested. So I'm quite sure they got money back as well. So I wonder how much money they got out of this.
I don't know. I just know a lot of people are broken and it's sad. But listen, let me go into the last story here. It's the Diddy Trial updates. Today, a lot happened. I'll give the best summary I can. And then I'm going to read an article and we'll get a little bit more. Part of this summary is on Saturday, the defense filed for a mistrial because Brianna, whichever name you want to call her, she was dangled over 17 floors and she got thrown into the patio furniture. Well, it was discovered that some lies were told. And when the defense discovered that, they said not only were these lies told, but the prosecution knew it was a pack of lies. And they put her up there anyway so that they could continue to make my client look horrific over some lies. So they filed for a mistrial. And the judge said he wasn't going to decide on that mistrial until today. Well, he decided today that the trial is going on. And he said the government messed up. He acknowledged that Brianna lied. He said, but she was taking a lot of drugs. And I'm going to read the transcript to y'all because I'm not putting 20 on 10. She admitted to taking a lot of drugs back then. So, she got the dates mixed up and she got stuff mixed up. But we're moving forward. And I said to myself, where they do that at? You come and say you're not going to perjure yourself. You get immunity. So that, you can go up there and feel free to tell nothing but the 100% truth. But I told y'all before, and I'm going to stay 10 toes down on this. All of them got up there and was telling a whole pack of lies. They did not tell 100% or even 90%. I don't even think they told 50% the truth. So Cassie told the story one way. Then later the text proved that she didn't see nothing. She claimed she saw the girl hanging over the balcony. So you got people that are all geeked up and they can hang you over 17 floors. You don't slip. When she described this hanging over the balcony, she didn't say I was petrified. He almost dropped me. None of that. Then he took me back over, threw me into the furniture, and here go the pictures of my bruises. So the judge said no, there'd be no mistrial. But on top of that, the judge said that Nicole, the black girl on the defense team, now a whole lot of stuff been happening over there at that defense table. But he said Nicole, the black girl, had her Perry Mason moment. I was like, what, the judge doing that? It's a circus. This is a circus. The judge is saying that about a lawyer on the defense team. But yet, if you remember, somebody on the defense that was just a consultant, not even a lawyer sitting at that table, a consultant said he called the prosecution a six-pack of white women. The judge lost his natural mind. And he said that will never, ever, ever happen again. He said, not in my court, not nowhere, not in this world, nowhere. You won't do it. So you lose your mind because somebody called them a six-pack of white women, but you're going to say that Nicole had a Perry Mason moment. You clowning the defense. And they're defending their client who is fighting for his life, in the words of R. Kelly. I said, yeah, the judge is biased. And this ain't got nothing to do with, me loving Diddy. This is doing with the facts. He's biased towards the prosecution. Let me go ahead and share screen so we can get into this story. Let's hear this quick little update here.
Today, she was asked about times in which she actually procured those escorts on her own without Combs asking her to do so. And she said, quote, I knew.
Defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are now getting their chance to cross-examine a key witness in his federal sex trafficking trial. For 3 days, jurors have heard from a woman testifying under the pseudonym Jane. She dated Combs from 2021 to 2024 and alleged that he pressured her to have sex with other men during so-called hotel nights, which she said could last for hours or even days. Combs denies all charges against him. But even while testifying against Mr. Combs, Jane said that he continues to pay her rent and legal fees. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas is outside the courthouse in New York City tracking all of this. Chloe, let's start with Jane's testimony. Which part over the past 3 days is the defense revisiting today?
Sinclair, we're seeing Combs' defense attorney, Teddy Garagos, really try to go into this element of whether or not Jane was forced to participate in these drug-fueled sexual encounters with male escorts, which she calls hotel nights. And on several occasions during her testimony today, she was asked about times in which she actually procured those escorts on her own without Combs asking her to do so. And she said, quote, I knew that there was an undertone, an expectation of me, but will jurors find that, will that give them pause, Sinclair, right? That Combs wasn't actually directing her all the time to hire these escorts. Also, she testified about her drug use. She said that she chose to take ecstasy and opted not to take cocaine and ketamine. She also testified about not sometimes liking these escorts and being attracted to them, and that she, on her own accord, she testified, Jane, that she would sometimes dismiss these escorts and that Combs would be fine with it. So again, how does that play into this element of coercion, this element of force? And we talked about the money, right? And that Combs is still paying her rent. Again, Teddy Garagos really trying to poke holes in her testimony that she was concerned that he would stop paying her rent, that she didn't have a place to live.
Right.
Also revealing in her testimony today that the landlord of her home actually had 3 months of payment for.
So see, that's why he's still paying the rent, so that they can prove some points.
For her house, that if he had stopped perhaps paying her rent, that she actually would not have been immediately homeless. She would have found time to find other money or perhaps another place to live. But that never happened, as we've now learned.
And Chloe, in addition to the testimony about the rent and legal fees, she also said today that she still loves Combs despite the allegations she's made against him. Briefly, how does the prosecution handle that?
This is incredibly complicated. We're listening to both the prosecution over the last few days and as well as the defense play voice notes, which are, loving in nature, which show a different side of this relationship. So I think that jurors are really going to have to wrestle with the fact that he's paying her legal fees, he's paying her rent, present day, while she's pretty much testifying against him for the prosecution. And I just want to point out that she was granted immunity by the government to testify. And Clay.
All right, Chloe Malas, thanks so much.
That was oops, I'm sorry. What did I do? Let me just, okay. That was a smart move on their part for him to continue to pay that, right? So what to know about the S trafficking trial? Former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, identified by the pseudonym Jane, returned to the stand after giving emotionally wrenching testimony. Over the past few days, Jane has testified about hotel nights, graphic sex encounters that were nearly identical to what another former girlfriend of Combs, Cassie Ventura, described on the stand as freak-offs. Combs faced 5 criminal counts, 1 of racketeering, conspiracy, 2 counts of S trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in P. Combs has denied the allegations against him. All right, so we got to go to the bottom of this because that's kind of where it starts. Okay, so one of Combs' former girlfriends, known by the pseudonym Jane, is expected to return to court today for cross-examination. Jane is one of the 4 alleged victims at the center of the prosecution's racketeering, conspiracy, and S trafficking case against Combs. Her testimony is part of the government's effort to show that Combs orchestrated a sprawling criminal enterprise to fulfill his sexual desires. On the stand yesterday, the witness voice cracked as she told jurors about a night in 2023 when she said she was instructed to meet Combs at the Trump International Hotel in Tower, New York, and directed to have sex with a male escort. Jane wiped away her tears as she recalled telling Combs she didn't want to have sex with other men anymore. Jane also sobbed as she recounted her reaction to Ventura's allegations against Combs. Jane testified that she had escorts at the end of 2023 and told Combs that she unalived herself in text messages. She told him she believed he used and broke her, and she wrote to him that he was done with her and she wanted to be gone. When prosecutor Maureen Comey asked why she sent the text, Jane cried so hard it was difficult to understand her answer. Jane told the court that when she read Cassie Ventura's lawsuit against Combs, I reacted like I couldn't believe I'm reading my own story. She said she fainted after learning about the November 2023 lawsuit. She also said she confronted Combs in a text around that time, saying, I felt like I'm reading my own trauma. In a recorded phone call days after the lawsuit was filed, Combs pleaded for her support. I just needed to tell you, I need your friendship. You know you ain't got to worry about anything else. Baby, please pray for me. Combs told Jane, I'm praying for you. I need your friendship. Now, the defense motion for a mistrial has been denied. That request for a mistrial centered on the testimony of Brianna, a friend of Cassie Ventura, who testified that Combs dangled her over a 17-story balcony in Los Angeles in 2016. The defense claimed Brianna and Ventura lied about the balcony incident, alleging that testimony was perjured. The defense said that Combs was on the East Coast at the time of the alleged incident, staying at Trump Hotel in New York. While the defense was able to attack Brianna's testimony, the judge ruled that that was not fodder for a mistrial. The judge said the defense did not object her testimony and they were allowed a vigorous cross-examination. Judge Arun said the government screwed up, but that wasn't grounds for a mistrial. He noted Combs' defense attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, had a real Perry Mason moment, meaning a dramatic revelation in a courtroom. Ventura mentioned the balcony incident without naming Brianna in her 2023 lawsuit against Combs. She also testified about it while on the witness stand last month. Key government witness Jane took the witness stand for cross-examination. Combs' attorney Tenney is set to lead the defense questioning of Jane, who is wearing a brown suit blazer. Combs is wearing a light-colored long-sleeve shirt with black pants. Defense attorney Tenney pushed Jane on her lack of interest in cooperating with the government when agents first raided Combs' residence in March last year. Jane testified on the cross-examination that when Homeland Security investigation agents arrived at her home, she wanted nothing to do with them. She had a choice to speak to them, and she chose to get an attorney paid for by Combs, she told the court. At the Combs arrest, Jane confirmed she met with a grand jury after the government granted her immunity. Actually, she loves Combs currently. Jane told the court that she does. Under cross-examination, Jane confirmed that she wanted to be close to her partner. Jane testified that she liked to take care of him at the hotel nights and called out Dateline as one of his favorite shows. Jane told the court that she felt as if her partner was trusting her in vulnerable moment. She was made to believe it was special and didn't want to judge him. Combs' offers of love and affection were the only reason Jane says she enjoyed hotel nights, which is the phrase she used for the nights Combs would watch her with sex workers. She told the court that she felt trusted by Combs in those vulnerable moments, saying she was breaking all my boundaries to make him feel loved, even as it became hard for her. Jane said she wanted Combs to be satisfied. The witness said she fell in love with Combs but didn't understand what conditions would come with that relationship. He introduced me to this lifestyle under a lot of emotional pressure, Jane said. I was so hooked from the beginning on the love and affection, I fell in love with him, and I didn't understand the terms of relationship. She came to understand that having freak-off sex with strange men might have been part of the deal. It was along the lines of love and pressure to do these things. He desired and wanted to fulfill my duties as a girlfriend, she added. Jane told the court that Combs had a big personality and was very sure of himself, which she felt was unique. Jane described why she felt Combs was larger than life. She said Combs offered highly motivational speeches to encourage her, which helped her to feel more confident. Jane testified that she used to be shy and still struggles with self-esteem issues. Jane said Combs introduced her to gospel music and had insightful conversations on his spirituality. The chat brought a really good perspective on a lot of things, the witness said. He had a favorite pastor. He would put sermons on TV, and we would watch it together, and he would send me sermons, and I would watch it on my own, Jane said. Under cross-examination, Jane testified to how much Combs spent supporting her financially, agreeing that Combs wired her around $150,000 during their relationship. Combs' attorney, Tenney, asked Jane whether she gravitated toward providers. Jane responded that she ideally wants someone who is a partner and a provider. Prior to meeting Combs, Jane said she was making about $50,000 as an influencer in addition to receiving child support. And I don't know if that was $50,000 a month, but if so, that's enough to do what you got to do. Combs said she enjoyed being with Jane and gave her an edgy nickname to go with those good times. According to a text message shown in court, they had just returned from Turks and Caicos Island in 2023 when Combs reflected on their fun trip. Get your rest. You are the crack pipe. That's my name for you. Crack pipe. I'm going to call you crack pipe. A very good time together, he said in a 2023 voicemail played in court. Jane testified that there were times Combs used to there were times when Combs used paying her rent as a tool, saying it was something of a reminder. She recalled one argument where she was suppressed over hotel nights and hit a wall. When she said she was on the phone with Combs, she testified that Combs asked her about needing 3 months rent. Jane told the court that it didn't feel genuine, and they exchanged nasty text messages, one of which included her saying she's not either of his exes. Combs' attorney asked whether Combs sent Jane $20,000 unsolicited, which Jane confirmed. Jane told the court that she was aware Combs was polyamorous and seeing multiple women, and that at first it wasn't something that she minded. But as emotions grew deeper, she testified the imbalance became difficult to handle. Jane said the relationship looked monogamous, even if it wasn't in reality, which she was not okay with. She agreed that it hurt her feelings when he easily was able to shift to another woman. Jane used colorful language when referring to another woman he was dating, she said. Combs' heavy use of drugs and alcohol worried Jane, who said that during a trip to Turks and Caicos, she felt the music mogul had jaundice, graying gums, and shaking hands. Jane said she wanted Combs to go to a rehab clinic in Thailand. When Combs' defense attorney Tenney asked Jane if she believed Combs was an addict, the witness says, "I felt he was overdoing the partying." Defense attorney Tenney asked Jane whether Combs was driven by his desires, and her love for Combs drove her during hotel nights. Yes, Jane responded. Jane testified that she told Combs multiple times that she didn't feel comfortable engaging in hotel nights as time passed. She also testified under cross-examination that she loved the attention and affection Combs would give her during those nights. Jane testified that she came to understand that Combs' desire to see her having intercourse with other men was an exercise of sexual curiosity. "I was trying to figure out the relationship, and I came upon the word cockold. A man turned on by watching his woman having sex with another man," Jane told the court. "I just wanted to know what was driving him." Jane said she believed it could have been an interest in bisexuality, but Combs might have been too scared to do the act himself, making the freak-offs the next closest alternative. Jane testified that ecstasy greatly helped her and Combs focus on sexual energy. "He was just happy, charismatic, good energy, a sexual high," she said. "Before ecstasy, he was agitated and stressed from the day. After, he would be happy and in a good mood." Combs called the end of the week partying F It Friday celebration, Jane said. "It's when he let loose and want to party really hard," she said. Jane testified that Combs and Chief of Staff Christina Courtroom spoke to her on the phone on at least one occasion when Jane transported substances for Combs. Text message exchanges were shared between Courtroom and Jane, where the woman would coordinate travel arrangements. Jane also said she spoke on the phone, which was not their standard method of communication. Jane also testified that communication with Courtroom was a point of contention for her while she dated Combs. Courtroom, or KK, was always with Combs, and it became a difficult part of Jane's relationship with Combs, she said. Jane told the court Courtroom had strong feelings about Jane that would influence how Combs treated her. Jane testified that she invoked the names of two all-time basketball greats to describe her sex life with Combs and someone named Paul. The three of them were the trifactor, Jane said, with a nod to the Hall of Fame hoopsters. "I was Kobe Bryant and Paul was Shaquille O'Neal," Jane said, and Combs was Michael Jordan. The court is, okay, that was for lunch. Jane returned to the witness stand for cross-examination by attorney Tenney. The defense is going over text messages and voice notes that Jane sent to Combs, where she engaged in fantasy talk and appeared to show her willingness for sexually explicit activities. Some of the messages include Jane describing what she would like to do to specific S workers who were hired for hotel nights, or discussing the planning of hotel nights. Jane testified that she gave Combs options on things he wanted to hear. She told the court that these were things that wouldn't have occurred to her to do, but she knew Combs would like to do them. Jane and defense lawyer Tenney exchanged some pointed words about handbags and sex during cross-examination. Tenney insinuated that the witness was consensually having sex with other men and gladly accepting designer bags. "No, I got trauma," Jane responded after Tenney questioned if she didn't get anything. The defense lawyer also asked the witness if she knew what a Bagada bag was, and Jane responded, "I'm sure you have one." Tenney also asked how much a Bagada bag costs, to which Jane responded, "How much does my body cost?" Jane asked for a break shortly after the exchange. The jury was dismissed for the day with instructions that court will begin 1 p.m. tomorrow. So it's interesting that court is going to begin later tomorrow. Time will tell. This was a lot of stuff went on. Julius, your thoughts?
Oh, my Lordy. So, she said she didn't like hotel night, but it was the only way that she could connect with Diddy. Okay, got it. So you had a part in it too, but you still haven't admitted your part. Okay, fine. I gotta give the defense their credit here, because they're calling out the shenanigans. And you say that, oh, he used paying my rent as a tool, yada, 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 and this and that, so I had no choice. No, baby girl, you had a choice. You have a choice. You wanted to get down, and that's what you got. And then you want to say, oh, but he liked to watch me do it this way, but yet you said you was uncomfortable. And also, didn't one of the articles say that she was originally gonna testify on Diddy's behalf? Now, catch 22 with that. You wanted to testify on Diddy's behalf, but yet you went and testified for the prostitution. You're a hot mess, just like all the other witnesses. I haven't heard no Wico. Honestly, this judge should have granted the mistrial. This case is a mess, and that's it. That's all. Go ahead, Miss Felicia.
Thank you, Julius. Go ahead, Felicia.
It is everything that you would think it would be when you have nothing. And I think they were going to charge Jane with trafficking, drug trafficking. And so she decided she was going to perform. As she tells us, she's a performer. But who is she again on the NBA team? She's a performer. So this is her moment to shine. She's up there and she has no problem speaking about any of the things that she's done. And I've noted that she refers to him as her partner and or the girlfriend. She doesn't say that she's been trafficked. She doesn't say that she's done this against her will. She absolutely said she consented. So this is why I think a lot of folks are in the position that I'm in. I don't know what this is, but I know that sending someone to jail for life over a bad relationship, I mean, this is the stuff that goes on every day here in my neighborhood. People go out with each other, they fight, they get high, they scream in the street, they break up, they get back together. They accuse each other of stealing each other's stuff, lying. I paid your cell phone bill. I gave you money for the card note. You better pay me back. All of this is street stuff and is brought into a major courtroom. However, the piece about the perjury is what has me here today. So you get immunity. Vanna was given immunity, and they asked her, did she understand what that meant? That meant that as long as she told the truth in her testimony, she would have immunity. So based on the fact that she did not tell the truth would mean to me that she no longer has immunity. And Vanna on the stand was the drug dealer. She was the one that would go out and purchase all of these pills and things for Cassie. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I understand that the judge did say that he wasn't going to follow through on anything with her, that he was going to let it go. But hanging, whether hanging or having someone lean over a balcony and slamming people down, that's attempted murder. That's assault. That's battery. That's force. That's coercion. So I understand what has to happen is when the jury is given instructions, meaning when the case is rested on both sides and now they're going in to deliberate, that the judge has to put out some kind of statement to them, letting them know that that testimony by that person has found to not be accurate, and that person has perjured themselves, and they are to disregard that testimony. So this is all extremely complicated on the legal side as to what's supposed to happen versus what is actually happening. And I understand when folks are just walking away and throwing their hands up in the air. This is another witness that I believe what she's saying is the truth, but I don't believe that she was not complicit in her own demise. I'm done. All right, Wayne, you up.
No, thank you, Lisa. Wait, before you go, let me say this. And out of her own mouth, she said, I knew he had other women. Not I knew he was trafficking other women. She said, I knew he had other women. I knew this wasn't a relationship with just me and him. I need to know from the prosecution, why is she on this stand? Go ahead, Wayne.
You know, Jane Doe done kind of messed it up for me, for everybody else, because we know everybody else is using the same substances, all doing the same stuff. So now Jane Doe done got up there and lied, and we know they all was using hallucinants, ketamine, and all this stuff. Now, I got to question all these other people that came up there, you know, well, are they lying too? So it got me kind of confused. I'm like, and I'm confused almost whose side she's on. It sounds like she's walking like a thin line. She's talking about, you know, she still loves Diddy, but I'm like, well, who are you for? And she's for the prosecution. But it sounds like she's helping Diddy's side. And I'm just beginning to believe now that all these people that got immunity, they ain't all telling the truth. And we're hearing part of it. And it changes our perception of, you know, because I'm beginning to believe in that. I'm beginning to think like, well, hell, if they was lying, well, maybe Diddy telling the truth about a bunch of stuff. So I'm just keep getting confused because I don't, you know, he's still paying the rent, and I'm thinking maybe he paying the rent because he on the lease, and the lease ain't up yet. And with this woman right here, I've heard the other testimony, but this one right here, it sounds like she's trying to protect Diddy. You know, he paying her rent, you know, and the legal fees. And you how does that sound? I'm paying your legal fees, I'm paying all that, and you're testifying against me. That don't even make sense. Something got to be going on. And even now with the judge in it, well, if the judge look like he's getting corrupt, it ain't no hope for nobody else. That's it.
Well, I believe they were smart in telling him to continue to paying all her legal fees and everything else, right? So she kept saying that, you know, he threatened if I didn't do this, if I didn't do that, he would not financially support me anymore. But here you are testifying against him and he's still financially supporting you. So they can debunk that story a little bit. But you better believe when July comes, she better have a plan. She better have a plan because she's going to get cut off. No matter how this case goes, she's getting cut off come July. She's a whole fool.
And are they calling Cassie back?
Well, they're not. I doubt it because the judge won't let them call the expert trauma witness back either. He said
I thought I heard that.
So this judge is different than me. I understand he may want this what do you call it? This case to be done in July, but this is somebody's life, sir. And I'm not saying the case should go on as long as that YSL case went on, but I'm also saying how you going to rush things and this whole thing is a hot stinking mess. I don't understand. And my thing is, again, this is the government, right? This is their problem. Why would you put somebody on the stand that is still having their rent being paid by the defendant? That just don't make no sense. But the prosecution did that. And you want to know why they did it? Because like I said from day one, they got nothing. They so desperate that one of their witnesses, the rent is being paid by the defendant and so is her legal fees. You got to tell me how that makes sense. Katrina, your thoughts?
I don't know how it makes sense. And I'm with Wayne. Like, girl, are you for the prosecution? But then again, I think the reason why they got her on the stand was because she showed. I believe she was the one that was in that hotel when they got him. And they told her, "Listen, you either testify on our side or you can be on his side as a defendant." Um, and I still think she's dumb. You paying $10,000 a month for some rent, girl. Listen, if you doing all these freak outs or they call it sobriety nights, babe, he would be paying me. He would have bought me a house. Carisha was getting $500,000 a month, and you only getting 10, and you ain't got ran through. Anyway, you're just ridiculous. And now you understand saying you still love him. You praying for him, but you're broken. And then you said you fainted when when you read Cassie's story. You should have fainted when you got in the hotels and he wanted you to sleep with all the other men. That's when you should have fainted. Um, this is sick. These some sick people in this world. I mean, dang, sex is. I'm done. I'm done.
Listen, I'm sorry, y'all. I was munching. But let me say this. The whole thing is a hot mess. This judge is a part of the mess. And this judge better bring this thing in. He's the ringleader. He better bring this thing in sooner than later. How crazy is it that one of the witnesses you put on the stand... Go ahead, Felicia. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I did. Thank you, Diva. I wanted to say it when it was my turn as well. Jane because I don't hear her voice when she's testifying, but you see the transcript coming through, and what you read tonight. She's a very intelligent woman. She said she went and did all this research on what Mr. Combs is, but she didn't research what she is in this relationship, right?
Oh, shit.
And so
the people.
No, she didn't. What she said on the stand, she said, "Oh, I just went to go see what was going on with him, why he was that way, and blah blah blah." And then, as she testified, she first was with the defense, and then when she got subpoenaed to go in front of the grand jury, they offered her immunity if she would do so, and so she went for the immunity. Right? So she understood that. So she did the research there. She figured that out. But she's telling us that she cannot figure out that she's not the girlfriend. She wasn't in a monogamous relationship, that she was dealing with because she also testified that the day that the hotel video came out with her boyfriend pimp kicking some woman in the hallway, she was right there with him. And the family was huddling together to write a statement for the media. And she was right there involved. So she's an intelligent, engaging individual. Yet to this very day, she doesn't know that she's a prostitute. Well, I mean, come on. We're not doing this, folks. We're just not doing this. And they can tell you what laws are and blah, blah, blah. And this and that, but she's a prostitute. He's her pimp. They do drugs. They have a bad habit. What she said, sometimes his hands would be shaking. Well, I wonder if his hands were shaking when he went to go tie his shoe and she slammed his head into the bottom.
Don't forget about the jaundice. These people are sick.
It's just, she's an intelligent woman. You're on antibiotics for UTIs that don't heal up, because every 4th day or 5th day, she says she's going to the doctor. But she can get up, and they allowed her, and maybe somebody can come up and explain that to me. They allowed her to go up on the stand and give a diagnosis about her boyfriend, and that's not her field of study. I think there's just too much off and wrong with this.
Ain't it though, Felicia?
It just takes too much of your mind. You can't process the nonsense You know it's nonsense, okay? But they gave her a good, I don't know, 8-9 minutes on her diagnosis of her boyfriend. Maybe Tenny's going to ask her tomorrow to diagnose herself on the stand. I would love that. Maybe that can give me a better understanding.
Oh, she did. She a victim. She a victim.
Oh,
I'm still trying to figure out how she's I'm still trying to figure out how they got her as a Jane Doe. I can see if you're a Jane Doe, you behind a curtain, nobody seeing your face or anything like that. But these people in the court looking dead at you, they know who you are, but you coming in as a Jane Doe. You honestly think these people on the street is not going to go back and tell exactly who you are? I can see if they had her behind a screen or something like that. But you sitting
know what?
right
In her particular case, we don't even need a screen. She gave the time frame that she was dating.
Yes.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. No one say who you think it is. Don't do that in my chat. But she gave the time frame of when she dated this man. She told the court she had a son. She told the court that my baby daddy and Diddy don't get along. I mean, if this was guess a clue, I think we all could guess. Okay. Let me see. Thank you for the super chat. This is for the gas station Tylenol pack for covering this case. I'm trying to tell you. Listen, I'm gonna go get it right now. Just a pure headache. And it's the nonsense that people are okay with saying that he needs to get convicted for this nonsense. All they are telling us about is his sex life. That's all they discussing with us. Is his sex life. This is
and the people were adults. There was no children yet. The people are adults that he's doing this with. There's no children there. They're adults.
And employees, paid hired workers. But Diva, when did she identify herself as a victim? I haven't heard her say that.
I thought in when she got mad with Tenny.
Oh, okay. I might have missed. I might have disconnected.
I gotta go back to it. But when she got mad with Tenny, she was pissed at Tenny. She was pissed at Tenny. And listen, she only on what day one of cross examination, and Tenny got up underneath her skin.
Mm-hmm.
She better buckle her seatbelt, and she better be lucky they didn't put Nicole on her. Because if they put Nicole on her, I promise you, she will run out that courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
She will run out that courtroom because it's the BS.
But Tenny worked with her when she was working on behalf of Mr. Combs.
So she knows everything. I know. I'm following
you. Yeah. So that's why it's Tenny.
That's what.
So
yeah,
I think this is why Jane is a little high strung, because she said things to Tenny when she was with the defense that is no longer attorney-client confidential privilege information.
It doesn't come out.
Exactly. So she's getting anxious. So she could ask her, like, what's today, date, and she'll freak out because she doesn't really know what's coming.
She don't. She's going bananas right now.
And if I may, I'd like to answer Katrina. The reason why you're anonymous is so that when your name is put out there in perpetuity, it doesn't always come up with all of this stuff. Okay, that's why. Yeah. So if you find yourself in that situation, go Jane Doe. Okay.
Special K, that's my husband.
Thank you, love.
But that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that after the case. That's my husband right there, Brian Still. Let me also say this though. Here's the thing that's going to be so hard for Jane Doe is that once this case is over, and she only got, what is it? Does she even have 30 days? Not even 30 days, because the judge is adamant that this thing is going to be a wrap by July 4th. Once this case is over, they're going to blast her name across every social media page known to mankind. And what is the judge going to do about it then? So the very thing that she was avoiding and trying to avoid is not going to happen. There was this woman, I got to look for the story and share it with y'all. There's this woman that way before any of this ever came out, she went to jail because of some stuff with Diddy. But you know what? Similar to this Michael Tait, that chick owned up to her piece of the debacle. She did her jail time and she kept it pushing. You got to respect when somebody is grown, and they know that they got themselves in a mess, and they just take accountability and they move on. So she is doing the most. She's doing all this dancing, flipping, this, that, and the other. And I get it. It's scary when Homeland Security come knocking on your door. And y'all seen enough movies. They not coming all soft and pink. They coming gangster in your face. I don't care who you talking to. You talking to the defense, but guess what we got on you? So what you want to do? You want to continue talking to the defense, or you want to come over to our side? So this whole thing has been a hot, stinking mess from the door. And what I don't know is when she went to the other side, did she tell the prosecution, look, I already told the defense team XYZ? And if she did, and the prosecution still put on that stand, shame on them. But I'm going to tell you right now why they did it. Because they ain't got nobody else. They about to rest their case. And what have we heard so far? Who's convinced of RICO? These are a bunch of transactional situations where everybody was in agreement. And every single phone call they played for us so far, Diddy said, get the step in if you don't want to do this no more. He told baby girl Jane, he said, baby girl, I ain't playing these games with you. I got other women. I'm a single man. I'm on my job, so you need to be on yours. And his job is, I'm paying your rent. I'm paying your bills. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in this relationship, so you need to do what you're supposed to do. And guess what? If you're not, then get the step because I got somebody else in line ready to do it. That's how he was rolling. What do they want us to do with this? They told us people were coerced. They told us there was minors. They told us they had videotapes. The first video they taped, they showed up somebody having relations with Jane Doe. The tape she wished that nobody would get to see. And they showed her. But do you not think it's ironic they didn't show not a tape with Cassie doing the do? But here Jane Doe is. I don't know who her a discount lawyer is. Here Jane Doe on the stand, unprotected, and they getting to play games with her. And I don't know why she thought she was going to get up there and just say whatever and nothing was going to happen. Girl, you have to get cross-examined, baby girl. Go ahead, Felicia.
I don't know. Did you talk about juror number 6 that's about to be put out?
I didn't find any information on that.
No.
I couldn't find it.
Michelle and Law and Crime talked about it. It's talk. It's real talk in the courtroom that they have issue with juror number 6. No one is certain what the issue is exactly right now, but they were in there today. But it seemed that the story, the narrative that's out there is that the prosecution wants to say bye-bye to juror number 6. And the defense is not in agreement with that. So we'll see. Maybe that's one of the things that's going to get played out in the morning before we get to testimony.
Oh, that's maybe why they want to do at 1 o'clock. But you want to know what though, Felicia? I guarantee you the way this judge has been leaning, he may kick out juror number 6.
Okay.
The way this judge has been leaning towards the prosecution side, he may kick out juror number 6. And if I was the defense and he did that, I would be screaming every single day. I would overwhelm him with letters of a mistrial.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like anything they ask for, it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
Anything the prosecution want, it's a yes. They would not give Diddy what do you call that? Bail, right?
Right.
But here these people from what's the dog that thing? I don't know, OneTaste or whatever that, which is a nasty name. We considered everything they did. The people with that OneTaste company, they did not see a jail cell until now when their sentencing is about to come up.
Exactly. But
Jeffries didn't see no jail cell.
No, he did not. He just had an ankle bracelet on that somebody popped off as soon as he got home. Let's keep it real. But I think you're absolutely correct on a lot of these things. And so tomorrow morning when they're in the judge's chambers, oh yeah, that was something else you talked about, Diva. that the judge had called in both lead counsel on both sides privately in the morning and gave some kind of instruction. I don't know what it was. That hadn't gotten put out in the public yet. And then tomorrow, it's not starting till 1. And the judge said to the jurors, if you get here early, we're going to give you free lunch. Man, those people should have been sequestered. You know, you're just talking nonsense, sir. Nonsense.
So do you mean to tell me they got to buy their lunch every day?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. They're going to get them free lunch tomorrow.
This is some BS. I promise you this, Felicia. This some BS. It's so that means they would have to walk the streets or go in the cafeteria with the regular people come lunchtime every day to get their food if they didn't bring it themselves.
Yeah.
He's running a full-blown circus. He gets an F. And now, if y'all come tomorrow, I'm gonna give y'all lunch.
Yeah, free lunch. If you get here early. I said, oh my.
There should be bagels, coffee, tea, Starbucks, and everything in that room for them every morning when they arrive.
I know that's right.
Probably
it's a break. They should be able to go in the room and begin to grab a bottle of water and some chips, some pretzels, whatever.
Them folks probably eating vending machine sandwiches.
At lunchtime, there should be a full-blown spread with them, with all the local restaurants coming in and feeding them to keep their blood sugar up when they listening to all this salacious information and seeing them nasty pictures and them videos.
Yes, girl.
All jurors' eyes tomorrow. Nasty. All jurors' eyes tomorrow are going to be on 6. You don't think they watching this?
Listen.
And hear people talking about juror 6? So they're going to come in tomorrow and look at her.
No. Oh, you mean the outside people. But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
The jury themselves already know in them alternates. They already know how each one of them feel, and especially juror number 6. They already know. This thing is a circus. A circus. Okay? Come on, Special K. It's the foolery for me. Straight foolery. And Judge Arun, I'm sorry. You messed up. This was over your head. You came in there. We thought you was ready. You seemed calm, cool, collected. You had your backpack on. You was walking up the stairs with the regular people and all that case may be. No, Judge, you done got this is messed up. This is messed up. If you come tomorrow, you going to get free lunch? Huh?
If you come early tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's right. You got to get there early.
Right. If you come early tomorrow, you get free lunch. But you're absolutely correct. You've got 10 attorneys on the defense side, and they're superstars. And they're repping a billionaire. They should have been providing them free breakfast and lunch every day and snacks when they go out for break.
That
Absolutely.
I was on the federal trial. They fed us every day.
Yeah. So what's going on here? This is ridiculous. I couldn't do it.
Somebody said Sylvia's down in that court and feed these people. Child, you in New York, the mecca of food. The mecca of food.
After listening to all those sexual allegations, I don't even want to eat.
The jury is hungry and their blood sugar need to be kept up. Let me tell you something right now. Whatever local restaurants are around there, y'all should offer straight up right now to feed the lawyers, the jury. But listen, we already know here about the foolery, Felicia, because didn't they have to ask this man to give them an hour lunch and not a half-hour lunch?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's because they got to go outside scrambling around to get a piece of chicken and some water. No, there should be, for the defense team should have a room where they eat. The prosecution team should have a room where they eat, and the jury should have a room where they eat. This should be good eating because this case is serious.
I agree.
Those local restaurants out there, this is a time for you to make a name for yourself. You should be asking that judge, can you send food to that court for the defense, the prosecution, and them jurors every single day?
And get in front of all them cameras down there.
Rolling your food in.
Come on now, Wayne. Come on now, Wayne. Talk about
all you gotta do is just walk by them. Just walk by them, you know. All them content creators.
Yeah. No, you could. They'll stop and talk to you. Be like, I'm from Tito's Italian restaurant, and I'm feeding the people.
Even if they just see the name in the background. anything. Free advertisement. We talk about millions of people.
A circus. Listen, y'all done got me a mad overtime over this darn Diddy thing. I cannot. Listen, July 4th, we're throwing a party on this channel. Even while they're deliberating.
They will be free. Free at last. Little body, free at last. Hallelujah.
Yeah, see, we're gonna throw a party on here because this thing got us hemmed up. It got us backed up in the corner. And I'm telling you, I feel bad for Jane. I feel bad for Jane because she don't even know the storm that's about to come to her. They're going to be dragging her for filth once July hits. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo-choo.